Welcome to the latest Humans of KPARK podcast. I'm your host, Krisslyn Boyles, and our guest today is Kallen Cosper, who's going to play football at Mississippi State. What sports are you involved in at KPARK?
I played baseball, basketball, football, volleyball throughout, not all the way through, but football and basketball all the way through 4 years.
Okay. And then why did you choose to do each of these sports?
I mean, I've played them my whole life. I've played football since I was like 7th grade, basketball since I was probably 5, baseball since I was probably 5. And, you know, just it made sense to continue to play them and at a more competitive level.
Mm-hmm. And then out of those sports, which ones did you do like outside of high school, and then for how long?
You know, I played basketball ever since I could dribble, baseball ever since I could catch. It was just, I've always been into sports. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I've played, I swam, you know, when I was probably since I was 5, but I stopped in high school. But then most of the sports that I played today, I've played pretty much my whole life.
And then when did you start playing football, and what was kind of like your favorite part about football specifically?
My first year of football was 7th grade, like competitive football. I played KFL, but you know, it wasn't really football. It was just running around and, but, first competitive year of football was probably 7th grade, Creekwood. I played tight end and defensive end, under Coach Podorski, and you know, I just loved it. It was like team sport. Everyone was running around, physical. It's just, I knew it was something I was going to want to play moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And then ever since then, where did you originally see yourself? What position did you originally see yourself playing in football, and why?
I always thought I was going to be a tight end. I've always been tall, always been big, and I had hands, so I knew I could catch. And I was just like, moving forward, I thought I was going to be a tight end. I thought there was no chance that I was going to play anywhere else. Maybe defensive end, but it wasn't all that to me. I did it in middle school. It was easy because, you know, no one could block me. But moving forward, when people got better, it got harder, and I just found tight end more fun. Mm-hmm. And never would I thought I've been a long snapper to this day.
Mm-hmm. And then what position did you play throughout high school, and how has that position helped translate to being a long snapper, which is what you play now?
Yeah, so I snapped in middle school just because I could do it, and I wasn't very good at it, but I could do it, so I played there. And then moving into high school, I played tight end as what I played in middle school, but our center got hurt freshman year, and they needed someone who could snap, and they used me because I could snap. I could long snap, so they were like, he can play center, right? So I did, and then moving forward, I kind of just stayed on the line. I didn't play a lot of tight end or anything outside of that, and until junior year, when I started taking snapping seriously, and I actually started getting college looks and places talking to me, and I knew that the line wasn't where I wanted to be or where I was meant to be, so I just went all in on long snapping, and that's senior years. That's pretty much all I played.
Mm-hmm. And then what do you kind of like do as a long snapper?
So there's only 2 times you're on the field. It's either 4th down or it's a field goal or a PAT after you score. You know, that's the only 2 times you're on the field, and you know, it's either a 15-yard snap to the punter or it's a 7 to 8 yard snap to the holder, and that's about all you do.
And then what college did you end up committing to?
I committed to Mississippi State, probably in January, I think is when it was. Yeah. And yeah, that's where I knew I wanted to be.
Yeah. And then why did you decide to choose that program?
The coaches were really, so if you didn't know, the head coach had recently moved and passed on, and they got a new head coach, Jeff Lebby. He's there now. This is his 2nd year in the program, and they got an entire new coaching staff, and the coaches were wanting new players. So Coach Odom reached out to me and said that he wanted me to be a Bulldog, and I love the area. I went up twice over the summer for games and visited and stuff, and yeah, it was a great place to be.
So the coach is kind of like starting over fresh,
Yeah,
rebuilding.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then, when did you start specializing in the specific position of being a long snapper?
So, I mean, the very first time I did it was actually, I think 8th grade. In 7th grade, I don't even know if we had a punt team. It was just 4th down. It was go for it. Either you get it or you don't. 8th grade, we did a punt team, and they needed someone to do it, and I picked it up. Little did I know that people actually went and played, college for this. They got scholarships. They got their school paid for. And, people in the NFL do it. They get paid some millions sometimes, and then I realized that probably end of sophomore year. And then I went to junior year. Going into junior year, I went to a bunch of camps, bunch of schools, started actually making connections and talking to people. And I was like, I think I can do something with this. Everyone that I met told me I had the frame and the talent and the skill to do it. I just needed to actually lock in and grind and do what it needed to be done to get there. And, end of junior year, I got a lot of looks, and senior year, I had already made a name for myself. So,
And then, were there specific coaches or camps that really pushed you to become the player you are now?
Yes. So, a lot of people. I met a lot of people this past summer. Actually, it was probably my most productive summer. I was definitely out of town more than I was in town this summer. Camps, traveling, hotels, stuff like that. And two big coaches that probably helped boost me in my career the most is probably the Lamar coach. He was the one that gave me my first offer to go play in the next level. And I think, just getting an offer in college athletics at any sport just put your name on the table for other schools. Once you get the first one, it's much easier to get the 2, 3, 4. And another coach that I want to shout out is Coach Raceback at Wisconsin. He was the first big time Power 5 school that gave me an offer. And that, I think, without that, I don't know if I would have had Mississippi State at all, because getting an offer at a Power 5 school can, just put a light above your head, above everyone else, that just says this kid's capable. And I think that definitely helped me.
Yeah. And then, is there really a difference in the recruiting process between long snapping and other positions, or is it all kind of the same?
I mean, honestly, yes and no. Yes, for the fact that it's definitely more of a, you don't have to be 6'6" and 300 pounds to be a long snapper. There's plenty of kids who are 5'8" and 160 pounds that can do it just as well. You don't have to be crazy athletic. So I think it's a different recruiting process in the fact that you have to pick. It's easier for me to say because I'm taller and leaner than most long snappers, so I stand out a little bit. But you have to really look into who you're recruiting, and then know in the fact that when you're a receiver, a running back, a quarterback, you're looking for specifics and what you want. When in long snapping, they all pretty much do the same thing. So,
yeah. What were some challenges you faced in learning the position?
That it reminds me of golf. If one little thing is off, it could throw off the ball. It could mess up everything moving forward. So I like to think of it like a golf swing.
And then who, well, you kind of went over already, who supported you the most with the coaches and whatnot. What are some goals and plans that you have looking past high school and going into college?
So moving forward, I actually just found out some information the other day that the long snapper who's there ahead of me is transferring. He's in the portal. So as of right now, I'm the only long snapper on the roster. I'm sure it might not be that way until I get there, like they might pick up another person, but that means that he'll come in and he'll be just as new as I am. Other than the fact that he's probably had some years in college football, he'll be new to the program. So I think I have just as good of a chance of beating him out at the starting spot. So
yeah. And then looking back on the last 4 years in high school, is there anything you'd change if you could?
Yeah, I wish I would have pushed myself more. I think in middle school, it was so easy for me to be good because of my size that I never really like worked at anything. And then when I got to high school, there was plenty of kids who had worked and who were growing and like they were good and they were getting better. And I just kind of coasted when if I would have put in half of the work that they put in, I think I could have been better or, you know, just a better version of myself at least.
And then kind of going off of that, what advice do you have for others in football, and who are trying to be a long snapper as well?
Probably the same thing. Just work every day. Like if you get better every time you go and do something, like now that ever since I like realized that I do need to like start being a better athlete to play at the next level, not just a like snapper, but just a better athlete. Anytime you do anything, like you go to the gym and you run a mile or you go get like 10 reps in on bench, you're being better than what you were before. Like doing little is doing better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
it's just that getting better 1% every day that it really adds up in the end.
Exactly. Like the 1% will all add up.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kallen. And that is all for the latest of Humans of KPARK podcast. Thank you so much.
No worries.